All right, so Ray, we've got all of these trucks stacking up everywhere on all of these dealerships, and still there are dealers out there that refuse to lower their prices. What's going on? Why is it so hard for these dealers to understand that they have to cut their prices if they actually want to move the metal?
When I see notes in our community and notes from our concierges, and I see some of and it's like the dealers are just refusing to budge, and it's like, what are they thinking? These dealerships, what does the owner think? Are they sitting there thinking that these vehicles are like a fine wine? They're going to age wonderfully. They're going to get a better bouquet, a better taste. They're going to become such a rare commodity that they're going to go up in value. Because I don't see that happening. So I don't. For the life of me, I don't understand why so many dealers are stuck in this rut of not being willing to move on the price to move the metal. I get that they don't necessarily want to lose money on a car when they sell it. I understand that, because you think to yourself, well, if I'm losing $1,000 in every car I'm selling, the motto of, well, you'll make it up in volume isn't really doesn't work, because you're still just losing $1,000 per car. But sometimes you have to lose that $1,000 so that you can create cash flow, so that you can then go out and replace that vehicle with something that you can make $1,000 or more than when you sell. So I don't get it. I don't, for the life of me, understand why so many dealers sitting on aged inventory. Perfect example, Ram dealers that have brand new 2023 pickup trucks, 2024s, and 2025s on the lot. How you can continue to sit on a brand new 2023 and go, nope, not coming down on price on that. Well, it's not going to get worth more. So what are you doing? I don't get it.
So recently I was at a Toyota dealership, and they had nothing but Tacomas and Tundras, and they had tons of them. So Toyota, they're the most sought after brand right now. You can't find a RAV4. You can't find Sienna. You're having a hard time finding Camrys, Corollas. Right. You're not going to get a lot of money off of those types of vehicles, but Tacomas and Tundras, they can't sell right now. And this dealership had tons of them sitting everywhere. And I talked to a sales salesperson there, and he said, yeah, we can't sell these Tundras, these Tacomas. We're doing like 10% off of these. Anything you want out here, you know what? We'll just start giving out keys. We just need them off our lot, whatever. And I went up to one of the stickers, and every one of them still had a $500 markup on the sticker of the truck. So this is what just absolutely destroys my brain. Even if that's the dialogue coming from these salespeople, where they'll just volunteer that we're taking 10% off of MSRP on these things. But when you're advertising them to people on the lot, your stickers are your advertisements. When a person is walking out on the lot, if they're not approached by a salesperson to let them know this, if they're coming after hours, if they're coming on a Sunday when dealership's not open, then they're seeing, okay, well, this is MSRP plus this $500 of add-on. And that just destroys my brain. And we'll talk about the used car dealer side of things too, but I want you to respond to that and tell me what you think about that.
Well, yeah, dealerships forget that even though most are open for sales 12 hours a day, well, there's 12 hours a day they're not. So that means people can wander the lot and there's nobody there to approach them. So as you suggested, what does the talking? It's the window sticker. It's the addendum label. If you're taking a minimum of 10% off on a Tacoma or a Tundra, it could be the sale sign hanging off of the rear view mirror that says 10% off or whatever, you need something. I'm going to share a story with you, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
One time in my life, I had a Golf USA franchise in Mesa, Arizona, because, well, I was a golfer and I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to have a golf pro shop? So there were 3 of us in the Phoenix market that had Golf USA franchises. And we gathered together as a group and we decided we were going to start running some weekly specials. And the first weekly special we ran was for pull carts that you would put your golf bag on and you could pull it behind you. And so we ran a special of $39.95. You know, they were normally $54.95. And we put an ad in the newspaper. Now, at my store, I built a giant ass display of these pull carts with a big sign that said was $54.95, now $39.95. And I sold the proverbial poop ton of pull carts that weekend. One of the guys, I said, how did it do? He said, didn't do a thing for me. I said, well, did you create a display? He goes, no, why would I do that? I said, did you put a sign up where they were, that they were on sale? He said, if they didn't come in with the ad, I wasn't giving them the price. You have but one opportunity to let somebody know when something's on sale. It's your obligation to make them aware of it. It is not their obligation to come in and tell you, hey, I saw the ad. And so the same thing applies to when you put sale signs on the back of rear view mirrors so that a customer can see that when your salespeople aren't there. That's how you communicate with your customer. You can't keep that stuff secret. It doesn't work when you keep it a secret.
And I think this is a big part. I mean, I know you see the comments all the time. I see the comments all the time. Hey, well, I'm not seeing prices come down where I am. But if you go window shopping, you're not going to see it because this is what dealers do. If they can get all the money out of a customer, they're going to try to get all the money out of a customer. And you have to go in and ask. I know you don't want to go into a dealership and ask. You would rather go to the dentist. You would rather get hit in the face with a rubber hammer than walk into a dealership and ask a salesperson, okay, what kind of deals you got going on? But you have to do that if you want to see prices come down. I hate it, right? I hate it. At my dealership, if we lower a price by $500, if it's a $3,500 car and it's not moving 2 weeks later, guess what? We go out there to the sticker and we take that 5 off and we put a 0 on there and it's now a $3,000 car. That's not the way that the car market works, though. And if you want to see prices come down, then you have to put in some effort to go see prices come down. My wife and I, we went and bought a new Honda Odyssey months ago. We walked into the dealership. They had like almost $5,000 worth of add-ons. I went in there and I said, okay, I'm going to pay 10% off MSRP if you want to sell it to me. And the negotiation took like 5 minutes and we got a Honda Odyssey for 10% under MSRP. If you want to see prices come down, you have to actually go poke somebody to see it. I hate it, but that's the way it is.
It is unfortunate that that's the way it works in the car business, but that is how it works. At most dealerships, salespeople get paid a percentage of gross profit. Okay. The percentage they get paid might be 20% or 25% of the gross profit, maybe even 30%. Well, 30% of $2,000 pays the salesperson a lot more than 30% of $500. And that's what you have to. So a salesperson, based on the way they get paid, they're not just going to say, hey, I'd like to give you, 60% of my commission right up front. So why don't I take $8,000 off on this car? They, to protect their interest, are going to ask for all the money in the world. It is, as I have said so many times, you never get what you don't ask for. So as a salesperson, if you don't ask for the full amount of the vehicle, you can't have a customer say, okay, I'll pay for that. As a customer, if you don't ask for 10% off like you did, well, they're not going to just volunteer 10% off. You never get what you don't ask for. You have to ask for it. A salesperson is going to ask for all the money when you come in because that's how they get paid. You, as the customer, are going to ask for a ridiculously low amount to pay that you can't get it for. But that's where that dance then begins. And that's how you lower the price as a customer. And so yes, I see that. Yeah, it's the prices aren't coming down on my driveway. I know they're not. I get it. I know they're not. Asking prices haven't come down in most cases. Average transaction prices, when you go in to try and transact on that vehicle, they have come down. And there's data to support that. Whether you like it or not, there is data that supports that, which means it happens when you are there threatening to take delivery.
So let's switch to the used car side. This is the market that I know, and
Sure.
why a lot of used car dealers aren't lowering their prices is in a lot of cases they can't. So a lot of these dealers, they have floor plans. I would guess 80+% of used car dealers are on floor plans. They're on these credit lines.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happened is they bought a lot of cars over the last 6 months or so, and prices have come down. They've come down on the wholesale level, and the amount of money that you can get for vehicles on the used car side has also come down. But over this course of time, the amount that these dealers have in these cars is going up and up and up and up. And we find this place where, okay, you have this amount where you can sell the car for, and you have this amount that's an expense. And as these dealers keep these cars over time, those two things start to inverse themselves. So the problem is these dealers, they didn't have money to begin with. A lot of these used car dealers, they're living basically paycheck to paycheck, and they don't have money. So when they go in to actually sell these vehicles, if they're upside down, then they really can't sell that car, because then they're going to have to pay their floor plan company the difference. And this is money they didn't have. And when that happens, then they're going to get their floor plans cut, or just they're going to lose them altogether. And I like to say this a lot: if a dealer can't buy inventory, then they can't sell cars. If they can't sell cars, they can't make any money. If you can't make any money, then why are you in business? So a lot of these dealers, they have to hold on to these high prices because they literally can't afford to cut them and then have to pay that difference to the floor plan company.
I get exactly what you're saying, and I understand how dealerships can put themselves in that trap, but that's what it is. It's a trap. If you're a used car dealer and you are financing your inventory, then you need to be checking your prices weekly. If you see that a vehicle isn't getting any interest at the price you have it at, after 7 days, nobody's come in to look at it. The only time it's been moved was because your lot attendant moved it, not because a customer ever came to look at it. Then you need to start adjusting your prices after 7 days, knowing full well at a certain point, you're going to get to a position where what you sell it for is equal to or a little bit less than what you have to pay for it. But you have to, it's called managing your inventory. And you have to do that by checking how the pricing is attracting a customer. And if it's not attracting customers, then you need to start marking the price down before you find yourself in that inverse position. Because if all your inventory you owe more on than what it's worth, you're never going to get whole, ever. Regardless of how long you delude yourself into thinking that you can hold on to it, because you can't. At a certain point, your floor plan lender is going to come in and sell that car for you. They are going to take that car to the auction for you. Okay. And they're going to sell it for whatever they get, and you're still going to be responsible for the remaining balance. So it's all about understanding cash flow, inventory management. And if you don't understand those two aspects of the car business, you're doomed. You are absolutely doomed.
So at my car lot, we're not on a floor plan. We pay cash for everything. Now we don't pay hard cash, but we own all of our vehicles. So what we do, even though we're not on that timer, we don't have expenses associated with borrowing money for our cars. Every 2 weeks, if we don't have a car moved, if we don't have attention on that car, my sales manager, he's cutting prices by $500 every 2 weeks. So I know I've got a lot of people out there that look at cars. We've had a lot of people come and buy cars from us. So if you see something that's been there like 14 days, just wait a couple of days. It's probably going to get dropped by $500. But just to show what we do, we stay on top of our inventory, and we are a small lot. But we know the importance of having to roll inventory. If there's something that's sitting out there and it doesn't get bought in 2-3 weeks, something's wrong. We're either priced wrong, that's an undesirable car, but we have to do something to get that car to move. I don't want any car. If there's a car sitting on my lot for more than a month, I'm not happy about it. We got to get it going.
Nor should you be happy about it. You know, there was a retail store in the Jersey, Philadelphia area called Sims at one time. And it was a clothing store. And they had 3 prices on their sales ticket. They had today's price, and that was whatever it was. And then they had a price for 30 days from now or 15 days from whatever it was. And that price was less. And if you came back and it was still there, you could buy it at that price. And then they had a price for either 30 or 45 or 60 days, whatever it was. And that was really cheap. Okay. And they told you right up front what their prices were going to be. And if you were waiting for that really cheap ass price, more than likely you were never getting it, okay? Because somebody was buying it before it ever got to that point. But they let you know up front. And too many car dealerships don't invest the time, effort, and energy to understand days of on lot, cash turn. They just think that. I used to hate when somebody would say, well, we own it for this. Well, that has no bearing on what it's worth today. You know, there's a saying in the car business, you make your money when you buy the car. If you buy the car cheap, then you can sell it and you can make a lot of money. If you pay too much for the car, then you're going to sell it and not make very much money. What you paid for it has nothing to do with what it's worth when you go to sell it. If you make a mistake when you bought it, if you're the last guy at the auction, I had a used car manager I worked with, and this was at an Acura store in Scottsdale, Arizona. Okay. And we had a stick shift Legend that nobody wanted at that time. And he literally sold it. We lost money on it. And he went to the sale. And he was the high bidder on another one. And I said, why would you buy that car? He goes, well, we sold the last one. I said, at a loss. I mean, what do you think the odds are that there's 2 buyers in Scottsdale, Arizona that want that want this car? I mean, what are the odds that the only 2 people in America happen to live here? Who the dealer that sold that car must have been so thrilled when you kept raising your hand. I mean, so oftentimes when as a dealer we buy things, it doesn't mean we bought it right. It doesn't mean we were correct in our assumption as to how quickly it would move. Lots of dealers are underwater on their inventory. It happens.
So hopefully my customers won't watch this, because that's my number one negotiation tactic that I use and my sales manager uses. We literally take our sheet, our inventory sheet, to the customer and say, I understand you want to get this car lower, but I've got $2,200 in this car and we're selling it for $3,000. We're only making $800. Don't you think that's fair? And usually they're like, yeah, that's you know what, that seems fair. We'll take it for that.
I get it. I mean, come on, my salespeople used to do it all the time. Well, we own it for this. But the smart customer would go, so that's not my problem.
Well, hopefully my customers won't watch this, because I don't need any more tactics that I'm using on my videos for them to come at me with. That we've had customers go, you know what, you say in your video that we need to find something wrong with this car so we can get it for cheaper. So I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna find something wrong with this car. Which is great. That's great. I want them to do that, but just do it at another lot, not
Yeah.
ours.
Yeah, do it somewhere else.
You do it somewhere else.
Oh Lord, the fun of the car business.